Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're getting this. Welcome Sunday. Happy Sunday to you all. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm really excited to do today's collective reading, inspiration, affirmations. But today, because we're working up to a full moon, I thought I would do something a little bit more special and add a few extras into it so that we get a pretty broad look at what we're dealing with, what kind of support we can bring in, who to call on, and so on. So, yeah, let's get started because there's a lot more to go through today. So, I would like to jump on it with you. We're going to start with our affirmation cards today. I have already pre-tuned in just to save us a little time, tuned into the collective, to my own spirit guides and ancestors, just pre-shuffled all the cards just to ensure that we streamline this process today so we can fit it all into the time frame that I have, okay? So, ancestors and spirit team, what are the affirmations that the collective needs to hear most for Sunday, January 12th, please and thank you? What are the most relevant affirmations for Sunday, January 12th for the collective? Please, Spirit. There we go. Oh, wow, that was a lot. Okay. So much for saving time. All right, well, okay. Let's see. What do we have here? Okay, so pardon me. The first one is I am strong enough to achieve any goal or desire I set for myself. So I'll slow that down so you can repeat it. I am strong enough to achieve any goal or desire I set for myself. All right, the second one is I am such a beautiful, kind, and unique person. I am grateful that I am alive. So let's slow it down. I am such a beautiful, kind, and unique person. I am grateful that I am alive. And now, of course, you can accentuate these a little louder. I'm trying to keep it a bit quieter today just because I'm dealing with a cough and I don't want to trigger it. Um, getting a little bit too loud does trigger it. I was trying to sing and earlier today, and because I have a very powerful voice, I went into that power and it was like, nope, wrong idea. Time to pull it back. This is not the time to go over the top with your singing. All right. So this one is for the divine feminines out there. However, you could probably change it up a little bit for the divine masculines. Again, now this is not gender specific. It's an energy, so you can use it however you apply it. This one says, I am very sexy, exuding femininity. I am abundant and fertile. And you can see why if you're divine masculine or you feel that you are divine masculine, you associate yourself with that more, then, you're not the fertile one. That is for the divine feminines out there. All right, so this one has to do with money. Money, 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 money. Okay, so this one is I am so rich and profitable in every way, yet remain humble, and I give back in many ways. So let's slow that down. I hope I've been slowing it down. I'm sorry if I didn't. I don't think I did the last one. We can do that one again. I am so rich and profitable in every way, yet remain humble and give back in many ways. Okay, now we're going to go back one and slow it down. I am very sexy, exuding femininity. I am abundant and fertile. And now that doesn't mean like you need to go and have a baby. And that's not what that means, unless that's what you want. But fertile means that anything that you wish to manifest or birth into the world, um, being abundant and fertile is the divine feminine's core essence, right? So we are the ones who are extremely abundant and fertile. So we manifest really easily compared to, and that's not to say divine masculine can't manifest, but we birth things into existence with ease because that's just our natural core essence. So if that makes more sense. The last one that we have here is, it is safe to take care of my body. It is safe to address my needs. It is safe for me to love myself. So I'll slow that down. It is safe to take care of my body. It is safe to address my needs. It is safe for me to love myself. Okay, thank you, Spirit, for the beautiful affirmations. Now we're going to move on to the abundance manifestations and affirmations. Well, okay, thank you, Spirit. That was fast. And again, we got 5. Okay, 5. We'll have to look up that number. Okay, so the first one is, I am ready to play big. All right, doesn't matter if it stays blurry, as long as it focuses when I get there. The second one is, I am all I need to manifest wealth. Well, that works. Maybe we'll just do that for a moment. Oh, now it focused on me. Dang. I was trying. Okay. The third one is, I release any childhood beliefs of poverty with love and forgiveness. My. Okay. The fourth one is, it is safe for me to accept money. Come in, camera. Yeah, I just want to focus on my background here. I can't get it to work. Sorry, guys. Okay. Well, we do our best, right? All right. And the last one is, I have a healthy relationship with money. Okay. I'm just going to get some water here. All right. So we've done our affirmations. Let's move right into our messages from Spirit because I have some other cards that I want to pull that'll be a little more special and geared towards the geared towards the full moon and some of the things we may need to release over the full moon. Got a card that's actually flipped in here. Okay. Okay, Spirit. What does the collective need to know for Sunday, January 12th? What message does the collective need most today? What will be the most serving message to the collective today? There it is. Oh, that's so perfect. Okay. Ah, well, our guides and my guides, they all have a sense of humor. So that's exactly what the full moon's all about, is releasing all the baggage, saying goodbye to the past. This full moon, I don't know if you saw my full moon video that I did, that I posted yesterday, but if not, go and check that out. It's all about this particular full moon, the wolf moon. And yeah, it'll give you a lot of information, which will tie directly into this reading. So it'll give you excuse me. It'll also give you some tips on things that you can do to help release that stuff around the full moon. So it says to say goodbye to your past and leave the baggage behind for good. Thank you, Spirit. All right. And we'll get one from this deck as well, Spirit. What does the collective need to hear most on the 12th, Sunday, January? Okay. That's a lot of messages, Spirit. Okay, well, I guess we're doing a special, so they just figured let's get as many things out as possible. It's time to release. Okay, so the first card is be clear about where you are putting your focus right now. Focus on your desired outcome. You have everything within to create the life of your dreams. Stop doubting yourself for once. This is your time. We've got you. Okay. The second card is find ways to fill your cup. Be self-full. Follow your heart and always trust your intuition. Go deep within. Find your triggers and address them one by one. Self-healing is the best healing. Only then can you offer the best version of yourself. hmm And this is what this full moon's all about. All of these cards are touching base on that. So, all right, last but not least, it is time to stop letting worry rule you. Instead, get excited about your future and all it will bring. What energy and emotion you put out comes back to you. With a little conscious effort on your part, that happy ending can be. I read that the wrong way. With a little conscious effort on your part, that happy ending can and will be yours. Believe that. Okay, I didn't show that last card, but I think you're following me here, so I'm not going to show those two. Um, let's get our self-care activity, and then we'll get into the unique cards that we have here today. What loving, self-caring activity would best serve the collective today on January the 12th, Spirit? What is the most beneficial self-care activity for the collective today? on January the 12th. Mm. Okay, we got two cards. This one came through earlier. And this one will apply to only those who wish to do this kind of thing. Excuse me. So, the first one is makeup. So, if you like to do makeup, you like to wear makeup, then doing your face up a little bit or spending some additional time on your makeup today would be beneficial for you and loving and caring. Probably make you feel really amazing. Okay. For those of you who do not do makeup, we received this card recently. It does it's clear as to why. Let's see, are we going to focus? Okay. Okay. Well, it doesn't want to focus. So, anyhow, the card is called List. There we go. So again, it's a reminder that this is the time of year that we are working on ourselves, and in particular, this full moon. Again, I would recommend you go check out that full moon video. This is the full moon in Cancer, and so the attributes of it mainly are to bring us within ourselves, to dump anything that no longer serves us, which, you know, is being reflected in the cards we've already pulled, to look at how we're loving ourselves, if we're loving ourselves, doing it in the correct way or not, according to what our inner selves would want, if we're moving in the direction that we want. If our goals and aspirations or people or environments are serving us any longer, or if we need to change those, this is the time of shedding all of 2024. And so this full moon will be a good time to understand what it is that you no longer want. And also by creating some lists about, perhaps all of the good things about yourself that you recognize about yourself. Because when we purge, we often just fixate on all the negative stuff that we no longer want. But we also need to find that middle road. And so, what that means is that when we have a big purge, it's always good to balance out the energy with positivity. So, whether that's gratitude, or whether that is just creating lists of, things that are good about the situation or about yourself. So whatever it is, let me give you an example. If you were to purge a negative experience with a person, if you're purging that, then you want to look at all the good things that you accumulated by being in that relationship with that person. Okay. And now that can be platonic or romantic. So take it as it resonates. But you want to also balance it out with the good, not just the darkness, and always leave it off on a good note. I do this with my kids even. When I lay down with them before bed, we talk about their day, and we always start it off in a high note, and then we work our way down to how possibly they were feeling on their lowest point in the day, and then we end it off with another high note so that um, you're always training your brain in how you speak and how you act and how you behave. You're always reaffirming certain things within your brain. And so this is a way of reconditioning your own mind to keep optimistic rather than pessimistic. So if you have a problem with pessimism, then these simple little tricks will help you to reprogram your own brain. And so anytime you're doing shadow work, You don't want to be stuck in that negative feeling or the darkness that can come with those feelings. You want to end it off, and this is with anything, any kind of purge, any kind of release. You want to end it off on a good note. And this is training your brain to always look for the good in life. Always look at the silver lining. Always look for what you learned. Always like to remain optimistic and see the good in everything, which will actually train your brain to always find smaller details. Like instead of just the bigger details, your brain will start to find and pick out little small things as you go throughout your day, which will just bring you more joy each time you come across something, right? So um, when you're purging, when we're going through this purging process and letting go, you also have to identify the lessons that you've learned and the good that came out of that. And every relationship that you've had, whether it's platonic, business, or romantically, has served a purpose in your life. Every behavior that you've had, every characteristic that you've had, every part of your ego that you've had has served a purpose in your life to get you to where you are now. So it all helped you in some way. And so you need to find the silver lining. You need to find the lessons and you need to see, maybe with a different perspective, that when you end it in a positive note, you can shift your perspective and see that what it was that you experienced was still a success, so long as you could find the lessons and see the benefit of that experience in your life. So I do believe that the lists in this regard does have a lot to do with what we're going through as a collective and letting go of, and just remembering that it's got to be balanced. We can't just purge and let go of the dark. We have to see the benefit in why we experience that. And we have to see it from a perspective that allows us to be grateful for what it is that we've just gone through and what we've learned. And also letting the universe know that you've learned your lessons, right? That you no longer need to continue going down that path. That you've learned everything that you need to learn from that experience and you no longer need to take that into another cycle, right? So, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that here. Now, makeup, of course, may not just be about makeup itself. I do want to point out the fact that it's makeup. So, maybe because the full moon is in Cancer, which can also represent the home and family and community. Maybe there is somebody that you're looking to make up with. Maybe you had a fight with them. Maybe you left on bad terms, or maybe the situation left a sour taste in your mouth. So long as you feel that like they love you and they respect you and it's not a sketchy situation, we'll say that, then, maybe that's you're inclined to make up with somebody during this time, which is totally fine. But be aware that you're also being asked to fill your cup before you go and fill other people's cups at this time. This is the moon cycle that will really bring you into focus, putting your needs above others. So if there is somebody in your life that you've been wanting to make up with, you've been had them on your mind, this may be, sorry about that, a signal from the universe that it's a great time to do so. But just ensure that before you go and, you know, fix whatever it is that needs to be resolved, that you're working on yourself and filling your own cup before you go and do so for somebody else or to share what you have with somebody else. Okay? All right. So I think before we move on, I'm going to grab a drink of water here. And then we're going to move into my homemade deck of blocks. So these are ways of assessing what blocks you may be facing. And what else? Yeah. Oh, come on. All right, I had to grab a drink of water. We're gonna move into one of my other homemade decks. Sorry about the lighting, it's really dark in here. I can't actually change my camera settings. Since doing a update on it, it will not open up any screen into the settings. It just keeps showing me the Logitech um, symbol changing over and over and over again. So fun. So the videos that I'm posting are going to be dark for a while. I don't have special light either. So it is what it is. And I'm still thankful to be here and to have you here with me. So thank you. Thank you all for being here for our special days. So this deck was created to figure out blockages. So maybe what might be blocking you on your path currently. And because we're coming up to the full moon, um, getting rid of as much of that excess stuff, baggage, blockages, all of those things would be very serving to the collective. So I thought I would pull it out today. Okay, spirit, ancestors, and guides, please tell me what blocks the collective needs to clear out of their way before the full moon. What blocks is the collective facing that need to be cleared before the full moon? Thank you, Spirit. Any more? What blocks are the collective facing that need to be cleared before the full moon? We'll get a few different ones because it could resonate differently for each of you. Usually there's collective energy, but sometimes there's different streams. So some of these may apply, and all of them may apply. We'll see what comes up. What blockages is the collective experiencing currently that need to be worked on today, Sunday, January the 12th? Please and thank you, Spirit. And another thing that you can do is if having too many options is overwhelming and you don't have enough time to take care of all of them, take care of the most important one and then do the same thing tomorrow. The one that you want to see gone the most, put it that way. Because the next cycle is roughly four months. So thank you, Spirit. Okay. Well, this is all just on one thread for the most part. I mean, of course, it can resonate differently for you. All right. So the first one is what stories are you telling yourself about it? So what is the it in your life? Um, Now, again, this can be broken up, but I'm going to read it as one stream of consciousness that I'm receiving. And you can apply it differently, however it fits into your life. But the next card that I'm having, or that came out, is it's time to close out the cycle with dot, dot, dot person. So fill in the blank. So which person do you have in your life that you're trying to close out an old cycle with? It's time to bring that to an end, to wrap it up. Um, do whatever internal work and releasing and accepting that you need to do in order to leave that behind in 2024. All right, so this one says, you'll no longer need to trudge through the deep emotional states. Stay high vibe. So this can be applied a few ways. Can be applied with this whole stream that when you do your shadow work, not to get too far down in the trenches of your emotions so that you get caught by it and pulled under, right? Instead, to go directly to the points of where you have some issues or things that need to be worked on, looked at, or released or realized. And then once you've felt a little bit into it, just don't go too deeply into it, but allow yourself to feel it mildly. And then once you've felt it, pull yourself out. And this is also a way of teaching yourself how to properly, once you reach a certain stage, if you're not in the very beginning stages of your awakening, you're towards the end and really closing out cycles, then this is the time that you no longer need to go so deeply into your emotions and be invested into them and have them overtake you because that in itself is a cycle. And so you need to bring that to an end as well and to stay on a higher vibration, which means that you no longer have to go that far down. You need to, it's more important at this point to keep your vibration as steady as possible or as high as possible. Okay, now the last one is it's over. No need to revisit that or rehash it out in your mind. So for any of you that are perhaps telling the stories, still attached to the stories of whatever it was that you went through with that person, if you're telling these stories and you're replaying it over and over and over in your mind, then Spirit's trying to tell you that you no longer have to do that. It's enough to simply call upon your spirit team, ask them for help, revisit it, but don't go too deeply. Like, don't lose yourself emotionally where you'll end up abandoning your inner child, your inner self, but to just revisit it, move through it lightly, get out, and raise your frequency once you're out of there. And then they will likely take care of the rest. But you do need to do the inner work and see what it is that's been following you this whole time. So sometimes it's the energy. I mean, we have these energies for lifetimes that are following us, following our light. And they come and they move through different people. They could move through family members, friends, lovers, work situations, but this energy just follows your light. And this is a part of your karmic debt in a sense. Um, and so you need to recognize not only the energy that's behind the people, but the people or the situations that you're still attached to and starting to let go of those attachments. But sometimes it's enough to recognize just what it is. I think it's important to still go into what it is that like your attachments themselves in this situation. So figuring out how a person is still getting an anchor in with you. I mean, you could have gone no contact with somebody, and yet you're still rehashing it in your brain. So ultimately, you're giving them your energy and your power, right? So figuring out what the wound is or the trigger as to why you feel the need to do that, or what it is that is still digging at you or picking at you, right? Because there's always something underlying whatever experience you went through that may actually be present in your childhood. It might be a wound from then, but you're projecting emotions onto sometimes an invisible person, and you need to identify why that is. And then you also need to take responsibility for your part by learning what it was that you needed to learn from that and by closing out that wound, right? So sometimes you're going to have to take this as it resonates for you specifically, but depending on where you are in your journey, sometimes you need to go further into these situations and really do a deep dive, whereas other times it's enough to just get in and get out, or other times even more so, as you're even further along and you're ready to close out a cycle, it's enough to recognize the energy itself that's been following you around your whole life and possibly for lifetimes. And this is the darkness, right? Um, and it shows up in many different types of people, but it shows up time and time again. So sometimes it's enough to acknowledge that and ask your spirit team for help on clearing that, like stating to source and your spirit team that you actually see it, you see what it is now. Because once you see something, you can't unsee it. That's just the way truth works. You could try, but then you'd just be lying to yourself, right? So yeah, acknowledging what it is, acknowledging it to your spirit team, what you've learned, what you've gotten from this energy being around, because of course, all of this darkness has been there to serve us in a sense too, to teach us how to become us, how to become worthy, how to find source, how to connect to ourselves, how to open our spiritual gifts, how to manifest, how to be our authentic core self, right? So, yeah, we have to be grateful for the things that the darkness has shown us, because without the darkness, we wouldn't have the contrast to know what the light feels like and the joy and the love. So, being thankful for that and understanding the lessons behind it is going to be very important. Creating your lists, right? Okay, so we've got our blocks. Now let's move on to mm, I think we're going to do the butterfly deck and just see if there are any more. Um, just one second here. Any more specifics around the collective's lives and life's changes? Sorry, guys, didn't even notice. Okay. I feel like every time that comes on and does that, I should be, making elevator music for you. Let's see if it'll work this way. Or maybe the old Jeopardy soundtrack. Do 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 do. Yeah, blurry. There. Oh, I just needed to clear the energy in here. Okay, I'm gonna keep my trusty little bell right beside me then. Okay, so I have this butterfly deck and it's about life changes. And so we're going to get a little bit of information about that for you. Spirit, What life changes does the collective need to focus on right now and possibly release? What does the collective need to focus on and release? We'll get one more card, please. What does the collective need to focus on and release? Okay. Ah, okay. So the first card is changing your mind, and the second card is end of an era. So, um, changing your mind, as we go on, 2025 is really a special year. It's the pinnacle in advancement in spiritual growth, emotional growth, human growth and development. And so, because we are at this pinnacle shift in humanity at this point, um, I think that understanding that it is okay to change your mind and to make a new choice, and that it's always available to you. Like making a new choice for the betterment of yourself, to love yourself, is always available to you. Um, Making a choice to change your mind on something or on someone takes sometimes a little effort, right? So when we are really indoctrinated into a certain school of thought that everything is black or white and there is no gray, or everything has to be from one extreme to the other, or we grow up with very rigid ways of thinking, or we're indoctrinated about political beliefs or systematic beliefs around society and how we should show up in the world and act. When we have all of these programs within us, then it can make it very conflicting to change your mind. And so some people do struggle with this, and I understand that can be imposing on your ability to make the choice that is right for you. And so understanding that you do have the ability and the right to change your mind on anything at any time. And like we're all learning. We're all learning at all times. And so, what you've learned a year ago, you may have learned new information that actually says that the previous information that you learned was incorrect. And so, should you be hard on yourself for that? Or should you just accept that you've actually elevated yourself and learned something new? And the same goes for me, and the same goes for you, and the same goes for them, and them, and them, and them, and any person on this planet, because you can stand corrected. But is your ego going to allow you to accept that information as it comes in? Or are you going to pretend like, you didn't just hear that and that, what you knew before was the only possibility and you're going to fight for that? Because, your ego can also get in the way of figuring out that, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong and to change your mind. It's also okay to accept that possibly you learned information and even told other people information that was not correct. Because what is information? Information is just um, stuff that you read and take in until you put it into practical terms and you start actually utilizing that information. That's when it becomes wisdom, right? And so up until then, you're the student. And even when you graduate to another level of your existence in humanity, spiritually, emotionally, you're still the student of that next level. You might be the teacher of the first level, but you're still the student of the second level. So changing your mind is important. Be supple. Have your brain be supple and open to new possibilities, new ways of doing things, new understandings. Take in as much information as you can, but feel into it and feel what is right and wrong because ultimately there's a lot of information out there. And if you're not using your intuition as your guiding post as well, then that information could be wrong. So when it comes to making decisions, we also have to understand that it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay that, we trusted the wrong people or the wrong sources. And it's okay to make moves and make changes as long as they benefit your future, right? So every decision that we make, every moment that we have, sorry, is another opportunity to make a different choice. And so it's okay to change your mind anytime that the opportunity presents itself if it feels right for you. End of an era. So again, we're talking about this is the full moon that kind of closes up and puts an end to all of what we've experienced in 2024. So this is the time in which we are closing up massive cycles. Some of you, it's been a 7-year cycle. Some of you, it's been a 14-year cycle. That's my cycle. It's been a 14, but actually, in reality, I'm even closing up 41-year cycles. But now I'm 42, so since since it ended in 41, but I'm still wrapping it up, it's 42-year cycle. Some of you, it's been 2 years, some of it's been 5, but a lot of big, big lessons are being wrapped up and cleaned up and shoved into the past where they belong. So good job, all of you. Good job. Bravo. I'm proud of you all. I really am, because I know personally how hard 2024 was, and it meant a lot of change. It meant a lot of upheaval, but it was there to teach us how strong we were, how resilient we were, how adaptable we were, and how attached we were to the human experience, right? And so now it's time to go, okay, I can let go of that. I can move on and move into the world that I truly want to create for myself, which requires us to let go of our attachments to all that was in the past, the person that we used to be, the people we were with, the things we used to do, the ways we used to be and think, uh, any of the attachments to the people, places, and things that we were and other people were, and the things that they may have brought into our lives, it's time to wrap it up and end that era once and for all. So, okay. All right, we're at 49 minutes. Wow. Okay, so since it is the full moon, I've got this beautiful deck here, and it is the moon deck. I've already shuffled them. Okay, Spirit, let's tap into the, 1 second here. That card did not belong in there. Let's tap into the, let's try this a third time. I'm going to clear the energy. Spirit, please protect my throat chakra while I speak. Please protect my throat chakra while I am speaking. Thank you. Okay, so let us get a card or two for the collective energy with regards to this full moon energy. Tying into the full moon energy, what does the collective need to hear most that will provide them the guidance that they need while traveling down their beautiful life path? Please and thank you, Spirit. Right? Nothing wants to come out. Spirit, can we please get one? Yeah, okay, there we go. So two cards for the collective for Sunday, January 12th. Thank you. It's usually when I say nothing's coming out that something comes out. Okay, so the first card is with a steady mind, I'm connected to our collective experience. Hmm. All right. The third card is there is medicine in my shadow. Absolutely. And then the third card is I unleash my wildness and choose to be free. All right. So tying this back into the rest of the energy here, I mean, one thing I'm going to make mention is that you also have the ability to connect into the collective energy during this time. So if you're feeling really low energy, you're having a difficult time getting through all the work, or you're just feeling lower energy, you can tap into the collective energy. Just make sure that you disconnect from the collective energy when you're done, just like any entity that you wanted to connect with. So whether that be your loved ones on the other side, your spirit team, your ancestors, angels, ascended masters, any of them, you still want to disconnect, even with your higher self, right? So you still want to be able to disconnect from any energy that you're tapping into, but sometimes having that collective push, well, where everybody's doing this at the same time, really helps you to get through it. And because you're tapping into the collective energy, sometimes somebody could be more advanced or further along than you and can help you get through stuck points or give you questions or insights that you might need. So, tapping into the collective mind is important to remember. If you need that help, it is there for you, okay? We're all here to walk each other home. Just make sure that you are disconnecting from the collective energy as a whole. Now, medicine in your shadow, this is the whole point, is to work with your shadow and to integrate it, not to deny your shadow, not to deny any aspect of yourself, but to accept your darkness as much as you accept your light. And this is how you become so sound. This is how you become so unshakable and unflappable that anybody could try and trigger your wounds, which used to work in the day, like back in the day, but won't work now because you've made friends with your shadow. You've made peace with your shadow. When you get to that point where there is nothing that anybody can say or do about your past that they can throw at you that would trigger any kind of emotional response, then you know that you're healed. Your shadow is your medicine. And the only reason that it wasn't before is because you didn't integrate it. You didn't accept it. You didn't love it. You pushed it away and it grew and grew and grew until it became its own monster, right? And then you allowed parts of your personality to get tied up into that and become part of who you were. So understanding that, your shadow is just there to show you that you've fragmented parts of yourself and that it's time to reclaim those soul aspects of self and bring them into you to make you whole. So that's the whole process of what you're doing right now, is to work on accepting those parts of yourself in your shadow that you deemed unfit or other people deemed unfit during your growing up and during your life, and to accept them with open arms and to really fully love yourself as a whole being rather than to push those parts into the shadow, darkness and all. I mean, we're all made up. We're comprised of light and dark. None of us is all light. And anybody claiming to be so is not a true light worker or grid worker. They are phony. So we're all here made up of darkness and light. And it does not matter what your background is, what your culture is. We all have these aspects because we came into this dualistic world to experience that and the harshness of it because it's the best training grounds to get us to the place where we needed to be right now. So, yes, understanding that, there is a purpose to what you're doing right now, and it is to heal yourself and to integrate yourself, which includes your shadow, accepting that your shadow is not there to hurt you or to trigger you or to make you feel like you're less than anybody else. It's there to show you how much you have pushed away of yourself and just to start reeling that back in slowly but surely and accepting it for exactly what it is. And then unleashing your wildness to choose and choosing to be free. Well, what happens when we do this shadow work? What happens when we start integrating all these aspects of our shadow within us? Then we free ourselves. We liberate ourselves. We make ourselves so not fully detached from the human experience completely because we still have a physical body. You could call it an avatar that has to go through the experiences of life. But we free ourselves and liberate ourselves from the chains and shackles and the programs that used to limit us. And so then we're then free to create a world that is fun, that is exciting, that we feel is worth living, that we've never experienced before because we're no longer chained by all of the operating systems, all of the ways of thinking, all of the beliefs and the concepts and constructs to keep us in a very limited way of thinking. And now we can expand our consciousness, our way of being into a limitless situation where we can manifest everything that we truly desire. We can manifest the world as it should be. And so a person who's operating in darkness and shadow can never access that ability. And that's why the light will always win because you need to integrate, you need to be friends with your shadow. And you also need to be friends with the light. You cannot, like, everything is about this dualistic kind of nature in the 3D. You cannot be friends with one or the other and expect to be able to manifest everything. You have to find balance. And really, we're forced into dualism to actually find balance and wholeness. So dualism isn't really a thing unless you're living and operating in the 3D construct. But once you move beyond that, then you're moving into a state of balanced unity, and not just within yourself and within your masculine and feminine sides, but also within the world around you and within the collective consciousness and within the universe. And having that unity and that balance um, is what is being asked of each one of us, which is what we're moving towards as a species, is, understanding that if we want to be free as a civilization, we first have to free ourselves from all of the things that we used to, like the programs that we were indoctrinated with and raised into, and all of the old belief systems that, everything has to be a struggle and things are just not easy and things just aren't fair. Who made up these rules? It wasn't benevolent beings of love. No, it was malevolent beings who are made of darkness, who created this 3D, people refer to it as the matrix, the 3D matrix or construct that we were all raised in. So stepping out of that and into a more conscious state actually liberates you. And working with your shadow is what helps you to liberate yourself because you're eliminating everything that used to be and you're just choosing not to believe or work in those ways any longer. And by doing that, you start to move yourself out of that construct and into a higher state of consciousness, which is elevating you, it's freeing you, and it's allowing you to have a good life, the one you dreamed of. So keep on working, beautiful collective. You're doing a great job. I will not be tying everything together today because I'm doing a longer read, which I'm already just kind of tying in the threads as I go, except for the manifestation cards. But um, we'll see. Maybe I'll touch base on those. Okay, because this video is getting long. We're already at an hour. So I have this deck called Keepers of the Light, and it's got all of these ascended masters, and it's got some of the angels in there. So I thought I would see who's supporting us at this time, who we can call upon at this time to support us during these shifts and the transition work that we're doing. So, Spirit, who can the collective call upon in order to help them facilitate the shadow work and the releasing of what they need to let go of in this cycle? Who will best help the collective release their past and bring these cycles to a close? All right, so that one's sticking straight up. Who can we call upon for help in closing out these cycles and letting go of the past with acceptance and forgiveness? Thank you, Spirit. Who can we call upon for assistance and help in letting go of our past and finding self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, compassion for the human experience, and forgiveness for those who may have hurt us? Oh, that was a lot of cards, too many. I will take the ones that are face up. I knew Lady Venus was going to come out. It's all about love. So, okay. Okay, so the first card we got was Krishna, devotion. Trust your spiritual guidance and commitment has been recognized, or your commitment has been recognized. You are loved unconditionally. So you can call upon Krishna to help you with your devotion. So staying on track with what it is that you're doing. So you may want to write these down so that you know which ascended masters you can call upon for help. So if you're having trouble sticking to it and getting the work done, then this would be a good ascended master to stick or to ask for, stick with. All right. So the next one is White Eagle, Ancestor Spirit. Connect to your lineage. A family wound or pattern can be healed now. There. Okay, and now these two are going to be helping more so with um, the healing of the heart, healing of the wounds, accepting, right? Healing the past versions of ourselves and accepting them fully, um, forgiving ourselves, our past versions of selves, forgiving others for what they have done that caused us pain, but also understanding the human experience and why they were there in our lives to teach us. Like we had made contracts with them, understanding the bigger perspective on this, that we asked them to come into our lives in a lot of cases to teach us things, or the energy that has been following us. We asked that to be a part of our lives until we could break the cycles. So these two beautiful ladies will help us to heal the heart. So the first one is Lady Nanda, Heart Awakening. Awaken to acceptance and divine love. Give and receive in balance. So, and again, that is perfect because we're in the sign of Cancer with the full moon right now. Let's see here. There we go. Which is about finding balance within your giving to yourself and giving to others, your home life as well as your work life, and your family life and your friend life. So, yeah, and finding balance, as I was mentioning previously, is really important in your life, period. Bringing everything into balance, right? Okay, and then Lady Venus, downloads and understanding. Truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. Also, Lady Venus. Venus is the planet of love. So I will just make mention because I'm a Libra, so I'm ruled by Venus. Compassion, love, understanding, forgiving. So it makes sense that she also came out for that. However, understanding, downloads and understanding, this is talking about seeing the broader perspective. So changing your perspective on the why things happen to you and seeing it from a higher perspective allows for acceptance, allows for understanding to take place, which then allows us to forgive the past versions of ourselves that didn't know any better at the time. And then that once we forgive ourselves, forgiveness for other people who played those roles just naturally comes. We don't have to do anything extra to forgive those people. So long as we forgive and integrate our own shadow and our old past selves, then we will find forgiveness and understanding, as well as compassion for those who played roles in our own lives, because we also have to understand that everybody has gone through traumatic stuff and hurt people hurt people. So the people who have caused us hurt, who have pained us, we also have to find compassion for because they are us. And likewise, we are them. So understanding and having compassion for the fact that the people who are wounding us are wounded themselves, and remembering, especially when you can see some of the like familial patterns, seeing that wounding being passed down generationally. And especially if you were a parent and before you awakened, you had already been somebody who had wounded your own children. And I can say this from experience. I passed down a lot of things unconsciously and wounded my own children, which now I have to um, forgive myself for, that I've been also working on forgiving myself for and loving the past versions of myself because I didn't know any better. Um, and accepting what it is, accepting those patterns and understanding how they came through as this energy that has followed the family line. And sometimes it's not just you. Sometimes it's generational wounding, right? Generational curses that we're breaking. So understanding the broader picture of things allows us to see the world in a way that we can place distance between the emotions and the thoughts of and the attachments to the old stories and the old ways of being, so that we are now walking freely. It's another, like, you're liberating yourself by doing that, by working on these things and getting that broader perspective. It changes the way that you view your human experience up until now. So, this is what the downloads and understandings will be good for. And you can call upon Lady Venus for that, or you can call her for helping with compassion and understanding as well, love. So hopefully these things help. I know this was a long reading today, but because it was a special one, I just looked at the clock and it's 1:11 on the video timer. Because it is a special day. Oh, and it's 01:11 on the date that I'm recording this. So anyhow, sorry, distracted. Because it's a special day, I did want to, oh, and 12:12. I did want to make sure I got a good recording. So let's just check out 01:11 or 1:11. Let's see here in my angel number book. Okay, this is a different kind of angel book, but 1:11 screenshot. Pause and reset your thinking. When you see 1:11, think of the universe as taking a screenshot of your frame of mind right now. Everything that is going on, all your thoughts, feelings, goals, and dreams, is going to be replicated. Get on a high vibe quickly so you can manifest your best life moving forward. Repeat the mantra, I am in alignment with my authentic self. Ooh. Okay, now I just want to get one more here. Let's see if it is in here. If not, then I'll look it up on the phone. Do I have my phone here? Yeah. Okay, it's not in this book. I'm gonna look up 12:12 since I saw that too. And then we will end it. Okay. The angel number 1212 holds a special connection to matters of love and relationships. When this number appears, it's a sign that change can bring positive outcomes, especially in your relationships. If you're facing challenges in your partnerships, the angels are encouraging you to embrace change for the better. And what do we get? Changing your mind. And yeah, and there's no need to revisit or rehash it in your mind, right? No longer a need to trudge through the trenches of that experience. It's time to let go of a person in your life and close out the cycles. So in order to do that, you need to understand what stories you're telling yourself and rewrite your story. What should your story be? What's the new story you're telling about yourself? What is the story that you've learned? Like, what did you learn from that? Add that to your story. Add the why that had to happen in order for you to be dot, dot, dot. Fill in the blanks. Who are you now because of it? Was the relationship or experience a success because you learned and grew and you learned the lessons you needed to learn and you grew into the person that you were supposed to be? If it was, then it was a great success. And this is the new story that you need to tell yourself and tell others and relate in that way and practice saying, right? Until you get it. So it's time for change and time for change in the right direction that is loving and serving to you and to everybody else in the world, but you first, because you come first and foremost above anybody and anything else. Okay, beautiful collective. Thank you so much for being here for this special edition and collective message. I hope that it all resonates for you. Leave what doesn't resonate, take what does. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe. Please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video tomorrow. Bye.